Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today I have a special guest, Arthur and Clay. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Okay, now please introduce yourself to the readers.
Okay, my name is Ann Clay. I write across different genres, but my primary interest is contemporary romance, of course, African American contemporary romance. But I have dabbed in a little suspense and some inspirational fiction. So I'm an avid reader, love reading, and that's how I began my writing venture.
Okay. Now, what attracted you to that genre?
My first book that I read, actually, I read a lot. I've always been a reader, but my first romance book that I read was a historical, and it was one of Beverly Jenkins' book, and it was the very first book that I picked up romantic, that was of a romantic genre. I read a lot of fiction. I read a lot of sci-fi, stuff like that. And so I just got very interested in it. The story was very engaging and the characters were off the page. So I just fell in love with it and started reading more. Frances Ray, Donna Hill, Rochelle Alliers. So I just started reading a lot more romances. And so it just piqued my interest. And so I wanted to write a story that I like. And so that's how I got started.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What is your writing process like?
Right now, I have an editorial calendar that is haywire, but I have a lot of stories in my head. My father was a storyteller, so I think I learned that from him. You know, just telling stories, and so I have a lot of people talking to me, but I think what I do is every time I get a concept, that's my beginning, a concept. When I get a concept, I write it down and I write, of course, the two main characters. And then, I people watch. So, I get ideas from watching people and, watching different things that are going on around me. And so I just make little notes at first. And then when I really get serious enough to sit down and start the story, I have to be in a space. I think my writing time is morning, but I don't always get a chance to write in the morning because I'm still working. But mornings and music. I listen to music to kind of get me in that space to make sure that I can stay focused on the story itself. And while a lot of people plot, I do some of that, but pretty much my stories the characters write their story. So I'm one of those that I follow the character a lot of times in my writing.
Okay. Why do you write and why is it important for you?
I write because I love to read and I think I have a lot of stories to tell. I think that I used to love the process more than I do now. I think because I'm doing more writing, I have deadlines. So before the deadlines, the writing was, a little bit easier. But I write because I love to read, and I know there are other people like me who love to read. And I just want to share stories with them. I have a lot of them, and I've been practicing for a while, and I'm trying to get better at it so then I can make sure that I bring stories to readers who want to take that getaway, because that's what I read for, to get away most of the time. And so that's why I do it, and I'll continue to do it until I guess I'm tired. So whenever that is.
How do you handle writer's block?
Again, I try to plot most of the story, but sometimes, it doesn't fit, and I think that's what writer's block is, when you have a plot that you have planned in a story and it doesn't fit because, again, it doesn't flow directly into the next part of the story. So a lot of times what I do is I walk away from it for a minute, but I continue to write. I might write something else. I might do a journaling or something like that, just to stay writing because it's a practice, and the more you do it, the easier. I'm not going to say easier, that you can do it continuously, because you want to write until you finish. And so I think that's what happens with a lot of writers. They get interested, they're real excited in the beginning, but they get stuck in the middle, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to be bothered with that,
Yes.
and put it down. So I just walk away, and I might do something else. I might listen to music or write something else, journal or something like that. And usually when I come back, the characters start behaving correctly, and so it gets to move on. So.
Okay. What is your role in the literary industry?
I think that I've had mentors coming up through my writing career. And so I try to be an encourager to readers who read a lot, because believe it or not, you read for a reason. Generally, it's because you have that knack, and you know what a story feels like and how it's supposed to, move from the beginning to the end. So I think I've become more of an encourager now. I still write. I still have the desire to write, but I'm also in a position where I start encouraging other people to write, because I hear people all the time that say, oh, I think I got a story. I know you have a story. And it's just a matter of getting in focus and being disciplined enough to put it down on paper. So that's where I am.
Now tell us the name of your books and briefly tell us about it.
Okay, my last two books, I did a Christmas story. For the longest, I've been wanting to write a Christmas story. And so I've done two so far, one in 2020 and one in 2021. And the one in 2021, I don't know if you can see that cover.
Yes,
That's
love it.
that's actually my little cousin. She was doing a photo shoot for school. And so I liked the cover so
I
much.
love it.
Yeah. And I said, oh my God, that's going to be my next Christmas book. And it's a Merry Cajun Christmas, is because I'm from that area. And so I've been writing a lot of Bayou love stories. And I do that because it's the people there are just a little bit different, and I can say that because I consider myself Cajun too. And the thing about it is, you can be in a fight with someone or an argument with someone, the whole family comes in and be in an argument. Don't even know why they're in the argument. They're just in it. But this book, it is set in Bayou Country, Louisiana, and it's called A Merry Cajun Christmas. And it's about this young lady who, she decides that she's gonna go home for Christmas. She ends up just, wanting to take her new beau home. He never met them before. He has no idea what he's getting into, because she has a large family. It's an extended family, and they are all about family. So you have to come to them correct. And so she decides to take him home for the first time during Christmas. And I'll read the back blurb of it. It goes something like this. I'm getting married, y'all. The LeBlancs and extended families are excited about Blanche's upcoming nuptials. Nothing's too good for their baby. And even though the excitement screams across Assumption Parish, the LeBlancs are a little apprehensive at first about her groom choice. Everybody thought she would marry her high school sweetheart, Clay Jameson. Yet Blanche's sights are on Cannon Jackson, and it's all good as long as Blanche is happy. They are too. Cannon Jackson knew all about New Orleans, the food, drinks, music, and traditions, but where in the heck is Bertrainville? He checks Google Map twice to find the small village on the satellite view and realize getting there is not a straight line. Still, he'll go anywhere for Blanche. At his first visit to Blanche's hometown, meeting her large family quickly gives him a hint of what he's in for. As Cajuns do, everything is big and loud, and weddings are no exceptions, especially at Christmas. The welcome and hospitalities are all flavorful as the succulent Cajun cuisine. Hey, baby, I hope you like red beans and rice.
Okay. How did you come up with the characters and plot?
Oh, like I said, these people talk to me all the time, all the time. And during, COVID, I hadn't been home in a while. And the first time I went home, I had siblings that I hadn't seen in a while, had some new nieces and nephew, and just the interaction with them gave me the idea of, what it was like growing up, coming from a large family, having to share everything, including space when there wasn't very much space. So I just kind of had that idea. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be funny. And but I also wanted to have some heat to it, because pretty much that's what I write, is not erotical, but a little heat in my romances. So that's how that story came about.
Okay. Miss Ann, who is your favorite character to write and why?
Um, I have a story. I'll tell you this. I have a story. It came out sometime back. It's called Priceless. And how I got to write that story, one of my guy friends, I from DC, I was visiting, and he tried to read my stuff. He did read my stuff, and he said, "You know what? Something about these books, they're always about the woman." So I said, "But that's who really read romance." He said, "No, not necessarily." So I said, "Oh, okay. So if I write a story from a male's point of view, would you read it?" He said, "Yes." And so Priceless is a story about not judging a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about this man. He's a complicated man. And it takes, getting to know him to really understand who he is. And so I actually love that character because it was just so many, depths to who he was and how he presented himself. And so if I had a favorite character or even a favorite story, it would be that story.
Okay. How do you come up with the titles and the covers? Because you have some gorgeous covers.
Yeah, I have to give kudos to my daughter, who is my cover uh, editor. She does all my covers.
Okay.
Yeah, she does all my covers. It's a love-hate kind of situation because I fire her so many times. Oh my God. Free, look, she's free, and I fire her, and then I have to go back and beg her to come back. But I like a strong Black male image, even though some of my covers have female images on them. I just look for characters that represent me or represent a man that I would be interested in. So we look for a lot. We've gotten cover images from different places, and she's the one that actually put it on paper, front and back. Sometimes the cover extends over to the back. Most of them do not, but yeah, that's how I come up with my covers. Thanks for asking.
What are the most important elements of good writing?
Um, Follow through. You have to have discipline first, I think. But also you have to get out of your own way with writing. It has to be edited, have somebody else look at it. A lot of times what writers do is, the story up here, but it doesn't always translate on paper. And so you have to have a community of help to look at the story, to make sure it follows through, to make sure it makes sense, to make sure it's grammatically correct. You know, a lot of times it's hard. Sometimes it's a lot of work, and you just have to have that willingness to do that work, because in the end, it represents not just you, but the people who are actually reading it. So it requires that commitment.
Okay. What has been the hardest part, or most difficult part of writing for you?
The beginning. The beginning is always hard because you want to suck the reader in. You know, if you can get the reader's attention for that first 2 or 3 pages, then chances are when you transition into the meat of the story, that you can keep them there and they'll turn, you know, to the next chapter, the next chapter. And so also coming up with a cliffhanger at the end of a chapter to make sure that the reader doesn't necessarily want to put that book down before they read the next chapter. And so it takes practice, and sometimes it's the hardest part. I've actually rewritten the beginning of the story just to make sure that I'm doing that kind of big introduction to the book. Mm-hmm.
Can you read the excerpt from another book, your latest book?
Sure. This one is another Bayou story, and it's called Like Jambalaya.
Mm-hmm.
And like most of the stories, they have something relatable to the area.
Mm-hmm.
Jambalaya is one of those things that people, not everybody likes. Either they don't like rice, or they don't like the tomato sauce, or they don't like some of the ingredients. But the thing about jambalaya is it's a mixture of unrelated things that you put together to create a taste. And generally, if you're effective enough, it tastes, you know, very good, and you end up liking it. So Jumble Love is about a young woman who she has a crush on this guy during high school, but he's 4 years older than her. They're in band together. They're living in the same little small town together, but he doesn't notice her. So she crushes on him until he leaves. He goes off to school, graduates from high school, goes off to college, start a career. And then one weekend, it starts out as a weekend fling. One weekend, he comes in to help her, ask her grandfather to help with an issue at home. And so she is in the garage helping her grandfather work on a car when he comes in. So, and he noticed her. So it kind of is a shocker to her. But the story goes something like this. Michael St. Martin's weekend trip home reunites her with a high school crush that evolves into more than a spring fling. She sings the victory song when Richard Bro, Ricky, stumbles into her grandfather's garage seeking his help. Her dreams are now before her, and Michael strategizes how to win and keep Ricky's heart. Richard Bro's unexpected visit to his hometown forces him into a matter of life and death situation when fate leads him to the arms of a woman that reminds him of why he left home in the first place. Determined to remain focused on his dreams, the casual attraction to Micah quickly explodes, and Ricky finds his dilemma pragmatic, and the no strings attached boundaries are now shattered. In the precise space and time, a dance between two souls with one intention in mind is like spring when it arrives and brings light. The flames begin with Ricky and Michael enjoying sweet passion under a expansive oak tree, dancing with the winds of Bayou Moss breeze. And like the best jambalaya, the recipe is easy and delicious.
Ooh, ooh. So what are you currently working on right now?
Ooh, I have a couple of projects. It seems like I'm always working on stuff in more than, more than one thing at a time. And so I'm currently working on a series. It's a series that entails triplets, and they are business owners. And so it's 3 stories, 3 opportunities to fall in love, and 3 successful stories in the end. So that one is entitled Durban Enterprise. It's 3 books, and I'm about halfway through the first book. But I am also working on a book that is, it's kind of like matchmaking. It's a couple who turns Cupid, and they're matching up 3 different couples at this countryside bread and breakfast. And so it doesn't quite go as planned. The couples that came matched are matched when they leave. So it's going to be one of those kind of jumble it up and see what you come out with. So, yeah. I want to have fun. I want to have fun with that book. So
yes. How can readers find you and your books?
My website, I've been working on this thing forever, and I'm hoping to have it back up in August, but it's www.anclay.com. I'm also on Instagram, and Clay35, on Twitter, and Clay Writes, and just on Facebook, if you just put my name, and Clay, you should find me in all 3 of those spaces.
Okay. Do you have any book events planned for the remainder of the year?
I have one particular event coming up in August. I am going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in late August. But I'm also going to do, it's not a writing event per se, but I'm going to be in Norfolk, Virginia, in the Virginia area, Hampton, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia area. And I'm getting together with some of the authors, a couple of them, Mona and Denise Jeffries. They all live in that area. And I hope we're going to have a little coming together of the authors. The weekend, it's the last weekend in August. So far, that's what I got.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close?
Just thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and the readers out there. I greatly appreciate the support that I've gotten from my readership, and I know you guys keep me correct with the stories, so I appreciate that. Pick up a book, pick up one of my titles and read it. I would greatly appreciate it. And I promise you won't be disappointed. So thank you so much, and enjoy a great weekend.
You too. Can you show your book covers one more time?
Okay. So this one is, it's called A Merry Cajun Christmas. And that's the cover. Her name is Renice. That's my little cousin. And this one is called Like Jambalaya. It is the latest, it is a spring fling book, and it came out in May of this year. So thank you.
Well, thank you again for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. And good luck with all that you're doing. I know you're doing quite a bit yourself. So
Thank you. Yeah. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.